fly. This world's gone crazy. Grandpa, take me back to yesterday, when the line between right and wrong didn't seem so hazy. Did lovers really fall in love to stay, stand beside each other, come what may? Promise really something people can't, not just something they would say. Families really bow their heads to pray. Daddies really never go away. Oh, oh, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. Grandpa, everything is changing fast. We call it progress, but I just don't know. And Grandpa, let's wander back into the past, then paint me the picture of long ago. Lovers really fall in love to stay, stand beside each other, come what may. Promise really something people can't, not just something they would say. Then forget, families really bow their heads to pray. Daddies really never go away. Oh, oh, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. Oh, oh, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. Families really bow their heads to pray. Daddies really never go away.
Okay, go ahead.
This is Hobart Salyer, born on June the 24th, 1897, in Carter County, Kentucky. And I stayed there about 1906. And then I went into, as I grew up from there, I went into the working for myself and so forth, and accumulated a little and got a little start, and I got thrown out with it sometimes on jobs and things like that, different jobs. But I met up with a steel company at Ashland, Kentucky, and I was a supervisor that would come to me and wanted to know was how many could get to start to build a steel mill. And I told him that I said, I'll help you on it. I'll help you get started. So I was one of the 40 men that went to work at the steel mill called the Armco there at Ashland, Kentucky, and hit the occupying, I don't know how many men now, but several men. And I stayed at this company till we was running steel. And I had a lot of experience concerning steel work and stuff like that, and went from there right on through to the as the growing of the plant was, while we accumulated more friends and stuff, and we had and transportation and stuff, we had a train, little train took us from up in Ashland and brought us down to where they was building a steel mill. And that was kind of funny. They'd bring us down in the morning on the coach, the engine would, and then take us back, come back and get us in the afternoon, evening. And I kind of enjoyed that, and I stayed with them long enough to run the steel. And from there then I went on into going up into the steel business. We had a lot of experience in that there, and making these big steel billets and things like that, and for the Army and stuff like that. And I was transferred then from there into Portsmouth, and that's where I wanted to bring this in on my experience of what I've had and what it was for and so forth. So I was transferred from there. I'd worked myself up in a lot of the machinery work and stuff. I must have been a good employee. I would have been.
Hi, Grandpa, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to check that out.
And so he said he wanted me to stay with him, and so, but the company transferred me to Portsmouth, Ohio, down there in the steel mill at New Boston, Portsmouth, New Boston. And we was working on steel there, steel billets in the time of War I. And I escaped the World War I, didn't get into it, but I sure helped them fix material to shoot the other fellows with. And I might have done better the way I'd done it than I would if I hadn't have done it. I'd done it the other way. Took my rifle. Although I could have been a pretty good shooter, but because a lot of them, I was known at that time right around Ashland, Kentucky, sharpshooter with a rifle. I had killed birds. I'd killed birds a-flying with a 22 rifle. I killed rabbits a-running with a 22 rifle. And different things like that, and everyone would get in like that. We'd get a little bonus for it, or a trophy. And I had all kinds of little trophies, from a thing as big as your thumb up to about all you can carry as far as that concerned. But when it's transferred into the steel mill, that Portsmouth, we was right in the middle of right in the middle of war, and so in my experience there, we had a steel cutting, or chipping steel, what they call chipping steel. Now the billets that the train would bring in and roll out on a railroad track, rails inside the building, and then so we made a rule there, in that when we went to working at nighttime, we worked 12-hour shifts, and we'd get kind of hungry between meals and so we had made a rule, the people did, that if anybody had a piece of a pie, or a pie crust or something, or a piece of cake, they'd better get it ate before 1:30 or 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock was deadline, and if it wasn't ate before then, they hadn't gone to eat their dinner before then, well, we'd first in there got his box. So his luck would have it one time, I was watched the man come in off the street. I watched him coming in, and come right through by to where they signed up for work and so forth like that, and had his name, or had his dinner supposed to be in a gallon bucket, paint bucket, like about the size of a gallon paint bucket, you know. So I got my eye on that, and he set his bucket down in among the steel where we was working, under some stuff, and I was watching him do that, and seeing I didn't know who he was, and he was one of fixing to kill us all. So we had, it was a bomb they had fixed. It wasn't a bomb, but it was nitroglycerine. We didn't know it. Well, me and another fellow seen him do that, and the rest of us had her up among our tool house up there, our dinner, where we had our dinner. So this time, this man had just kind of slipped along through, just walking through like that, and we didn't know but what he was, had a little late to getting into his lunch. We watched him, he hadn't gotten at none of it yet. Well, 2 o'clock come, I broke for that lunch he had in that box, or can, bucket. And so another fellow had seen the same thing I had, So I beat him to the draw. So I grabs the gallon bucket up in my hand, and he undertook to take it away from me, you see. And we was tussling there with the bucket of nitroglycerine. It was what was in the bucket. That's what I want to get across. It was nitroglycerine that I thought we were going to get to eat. And so when the wrestling around where bales would come out of the bucket and just hold on one side, and I told the bell fellow there, I said, wait, let's wait just a minute. Don't do that, we'll drop it and spill it all. And I said, let's wait and we'll just sit down and divide it, and you can have half of it and I'll take the other half and what was in the bucket. And he says, all right. So he lets me have lets loose the bucket. And I just place right over here from where the bucket was at, a little place over there, so we could sit down. I just sat down there and set the bucket down here on the floor and took my knife out of my pocket, penknife, and opened it to take the lid off of a paint bucket, you know, like it did, just a regular old paint bucket. And what surprised them, it was nitroglycerine that we was monkeying with. And when we seen that, I said, that's nothing but pure old nitroglycerine. And I hollered for help, and I got the boss man over our gang. We had about 400 men there, and the boss that was over us, we hardly got him there. And he says, yes, I believe that's nitroglycerine. Well, he got a hold of the headquarters in the main office, and 4 or 5 men come down there and yelled, that's it, and they all pronounced it, that's what it is. So the disc calls a shutdown. The whole steel mill shut down from one end of the mill to the other. Brought it to a halt, and they took this, analyzed this here nitroglycerine, and seen that it was full of nitroglycerine. Well, they taken it down to the river there, on the bank of the river is where we was at on the steel mill there, on the bank of the river. So they had taken it down to the high river and run it off into the river, you see, to keep from explosion, you see. Well, then after we got that settled there, somebody hollered up and he said, in the crowd, he said, come here. He said, I hear something. They hear the bomb a-ticking. Well, one of the biggest bombs that was ever made at that time in Ohio there, in the Portsmouth warehouse, or the Portsmouth mill. And we found it, we kept on and we found it. Well, I was the one that found it. You see, I found the nitroglycerine. Well, then we found this here noise. We were following this noise, you see, like you make a noise with something you see here and you look to see where it's at and find it. And I was the one that traced it with the other fellows with us, we see. I didn't take all the blame, but they was following right along too, and I found it. And it was sticking right in between, it was set right in between two of the furnaces, or two of the mills, steel mills, engines, roll mills, and so forth. And if the people that was there running the place, they said if that one nitroglycerine locked was first, and if it had went off, that would explode. If it went off first, that would exploded everything else on the bank of the High River from Ashland to no telling how far above Portsmouth. Well, that gave them the scare. After they analyzed and seen what the power it had, it destroyed everything. There wouldn't have been a house left or nothing. Well, that scared them all, and seen what we'd lucky enough to do it. Well, I was lucky enough to catch it, or kept it from the other fellow from maybe making me drop it. Well, then I found this one. Well, then they went on and found 3 more bombs up the river a little more at another section of the mill. There was 3 or 4 bombs we found right there in that same night, and they shut everything down. And so they ordered everybody that they stayed right there at alert all night, and on up to daylight, And it told everybody that night, he said, I want you, as every man that can carry a gun, I want you to get armed with one. And if you ain't got an arm, get a club. And we will have to guard this place. There's no fence around it. There's no place around this mill. There's any place around it, but we're a steel mill. Well, they had to guard the riverside for boats are coming in with it. Their bombs are set but tied up, and different places, and all like that. But we got crowded with ammunition like that to do that. But we went on then, and they went to work building a fence around the plank. Well, about 3 days after that, then nothing else that ever happened. And about 3 days after that, they had a fence around the whole thing that stopped that in the head. But outside of that, that's about all I can give you about that in the way of the. They give me all kinds of praises and ribbons and what have you. They had because of helping on that, catching it when he exploded.
Yeah.
If it hadn't been for me and this other fellow too, and I'd have beat him, I'd have beat him. So if it hadn't been for me, he'd have got it. And if he had, he might have let it get away from him, might have dropped it and exploded. So it makes it is a big thing. But I didn't think anything about it ever since I hadn't had so many experience with steel mills and things like that. I just wanted to try to bring that in if I could, if we could show what this old buzzard used to do when he was little man.
What about growing up? Where you grew up at?
I grew up in Boyd County, up till I was 20 years old, and we left there in 1919. It was we left Boyd County in 1918. Come over to High from there on, and I married a wonderful woman. I picked her up as a girlfriend, and I had a wonderful wife. She stayed with me till death separated us, and all like that. And I can't kick it. I never was a better woman ever lived, and all like that. And we got along good, and I had 12 children alive yet. One child dead, and I've got 12 children living, and I'm proud of every one of them. If I was to be asked to pick them out, I couldn't pick everyone out at all from the others. They all were the same pattern, all for the same pattern, you know. So we had a good family life down through it till the present time, till we ran into our gas fumes here and knocked us all out here and come up in here and passing out from leaking in the gas line, and we got that carbon monoxide gas, and I got that, and I went to the hospital. They picked me up at about 9 o'clock. I got gassed about 11 o'clock, a little after, and I went to bed at about 11 o'clock, and I told my daughter to go to bed, and I said I was from there on out. I didn't know from where I was alive or anything. I never knew of anything else alive, myself or anybody else. From then on till about 3:30 the next day, Sunday, about 3:30. So that's one of the things I'm proud of. I've finally come back to again. With the Lord's help, I made it through up to the present time. Then after the doctors got the gas conquered in us, as far as I'm concerned, the gas danger over with, well, we got that old deadly poison flu that went around. I don't know, there's about 5 or 6 people around and close by, not too far close, but around in the suburbs, like county or something like that. 2 or 3 people died with it. They claimed died with the flu, but I'm kind of getting worked out of that and stuff like that. But it's working on for my good, I reckon. So I'm glad of that part of it too. That I can walk with walkers, but I can't do much good to go and get along without walkers. A walker with.
Well, we were all very happy that you and Grandma made it through that okay.
Yeah, I sure did. And
where were your grandparents from?
Well, we were born we from Kentucky is where we was born from, and of course your grandma, you might say, was she was down there, Ashland there. I was born in Carter County, Kentucky, but just up off out of Boyd County, my little ways. That's where I was born, and then I drifted on down into Ashland, Kentucky. Went on into that from Ashland, and went on down into from there to Ohio. That was married. I picked up my girlfriend down there in Kentucky and started a new life. Started me a little family of my own.
Little family.
Yeah.
I think you had a pretty big family.
Pretty family too.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and I got I've had a wonderful time through my lifetime.
How long did you go to school?
Huh?
Where'd you go to school?
Well, the school I got was over in, it was in Boyd County, right out of Ashland. Wasn't on about, I think about 10 or 12 miles or something out of Ashland. I come over near completing the second grade.
Not very long.
In school. But I'm still here with what education got. I never got run over trained or nothing like that. I had sense enough to keep out of without school, and I had sense enough to keep out of the way of a train and automobiles and things so far.
Yeah.
So that wasn't too bad. A lot of people get killed in them, you know.
Yeah, a lot of them.
But,
Would you want to play your banjo for me?
huh?
Would you like to play your banjo
No, I
for
can't.
me?
I can't pass you that up on it because my fingers are stiff, and then I haven't played none for, well, since you was here, I don't guess very much. Well, I ain't been here since this friend was, Frida got this for me when she come over to live with me. Look at that little innocent thing. This right here, taking it and everything. But you have to come here, I go to plant and he'll just dig out and run the beat for it, the other way. Well, I don't want, they just want nothing to do with it. So I just never done more with the banjo and nothing like that, so I'm sorry, I'd have to pick up tune up a little on it anyway, again, it raise up a little bit.
About the little juice there, harmonica.
Harmonica.
Well, you can play this, you'll leave, but you can play master handy. Look at little harmonica. I can play that. You could play that, that'd be something for you to play. You don't have to have much tune for that.
Well, I'm just going to do this to see what it'll do. Well, this doesn't go on. Well, I can't play it, I'm just going to make a noise with it.
That's good, thank you.
Yeah.
Every time we come up here, you used to play the banjo or sing to us and everything.
Hmm?
All the time growing up, whenever we come up here, you always played the banjo or sang for us.
Well, I'll sing you a song.
Okay.
I'll sing you a song at the... This is a Brother that's far from the Savior today, risking your soul for the things that decay. Oh, if today God would call you away, what would you give in exchange for your soul? What would you give? What would you give? What would you give in exchange for your soul? Oh, if today God would call you away, what would you give in exchange for your soul? Mercy is calling you, won't you give heed? Must their Savior tenderly plead? Risk not your soul for the things that decay. What would you give in exchange for your soul? What would you give? What would you give? What would you give in exchange for your soul? Oh, if today God would call you away, what would you give in exchange for your soul? Now when you stand at the bar by and by, and you are weighed in the balance on high, and you've been sentenced forever to die, what would you give in exchange for your soul? What would you give? What would you give? What would you give in exchange for your soul? Oh, if today God would call you away, what would you give in exchange for your soul?
Thank you.
Pays to get ready to meet the Lord. And then let death come whenever it wants to. That's the main thing. Now, Joseph and Mary, the father and mother of supposed to be Jesus, you know, they'd been in to pay their taxes, so like we have to pay our taxes. And they'd been in to pay their taxes at Jerusalem, and time come for them to go back home after they're over they're going, and all the way they had to travel in them days, they didn't have no Lincoln or Model A's or nothing else. They had to just take it afoot, and they was walking back home. They had and they'd went about a day's journey walking, supposing Jesus was with them, in the gang with them, you see, this boy. And when they got to searching around, they couldn't find him. They got searching around, they went back to find him, and they found him back there where in Jerusalem, they're talking and instructing the big shots and so forth like that. And that was where the starting of Jesus was born, was getting the people to listen at him and stop what they had to say, you see. But at the same time, they had went about a day's journey supposing that he was with him. Now, many of supposing Jesus is with us ain't enough, see. It's got to be 100%. And they was their dad and mother were even supposing he was in the crowd with them. So it's just get down and dig till you hit bottom, hit the solid rock, and you find Jesus as he is. You find him then as he is, big enough to save your soul, stuff like that. So that's what I like about that song. But supposing he's around there, it ain't good enough. He's got to be 100% pure. And I love that song. I always did like to sing that song, but just like that. But it's just
sing that to us.
Hmm?
You sing that song to us, an Amazing Grace.
Yeah.
And this train, something about a train.
Bound for glory.
Yeah.
You got the Amazing Grace? You've got it.
Well, I mean, I remember you singing it to me.
But you ain't got it on record? Ain't you got no tape or nothing? Well, we sing Amazing Grace then. It's an awful good song. It's an old Baptist song, but it's a good song. I brought it from Kentucky with me and still got it. It's a good old song. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saves a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. It was grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fear relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many danger, toils, and snares, I have already come. It is grace that brought me safe this far, and grace will lead me home. Now the Lord has been so good to me. His word my hope secured. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we know it's days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace. You fellas help me in that.
I can't
Grace.
sing.
Amazing grace, how sweet its sound that saves a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. I was blind, but now I see.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
You want to take a break for a little while?
Yeah.
Okay.
Flowers kind of stopping and she'll take your picture right.
Huh? Well, I was down in the hospital and around the big part of the time. I didn't have time to do anything. She was back in the backyard, these things around here. I'd be down, I'd come down here and turn around, and I'm going to talk to you some. I want to show what the, wanted to show you, and then I'll, on my way back. Houses here, these here dog houses I've got here made here is, I made them out of, just they're made out of lumber there. I've got big, two different sizes of them here, and it's like that. But the dog houses, they show for themselves. But here, this your electric light pole here, post, that started with a clothesline and crossed over to the grape harbor we had there. And so when I built changing things around, built and put this up here, put this light up here, well, I changed it and made that out of it instead of just a clothesline. I closed it in and made that design out of it there to show from a light pole like that. And then the gazebo there, it was just the grape harbor. It was a grape harbor, but it was 4x4 grape harbor in size, 8 foot piece. And I changed it in that design of making the 8 squares out of it instead of 4, and turned into the gazebo here like that. So I enjoy that, and I think that is nice myself. I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world what I've got that size. And I'm just this over here, and all the look up this other way up here. Oh, the birdhouse, I ain't got it done. I've got it started there. I ain't got it done yet, so that's part of my work in here. And then the other stuff in here is just where we're set and stuff like that. I haven't got a place to sit down once in a while. Several of them back before I got sick, so if I got ailment, struck me like I did. I had about 12. I had 12 dog houses at one time, and then and 2 rabbit huts. But that's before back when I was on the field working day and night, both you might say, and good health and all like that. But I haven't been making that many dog houses since then because I've sold out of them and all like that. But while I had the 12 here, there's one thing I'd like to mention while I'm at it, that of course I never put up no sign much one time. They sometimes put a sign up out here and sometimes they don't, but I never had no trouble selling them. And I've got dog houses scattered all the way from Cleveland to Columbus and Zanesville and all like that, and I've never had no kick on them, no way of them tearing up or nothing when the cyclone picks them up and carries them away. But among it all, I'm glad I'm here with them too. And these, while I had that 12 dog houses and 2 rabbit huts, they had rabbits, or they hadn't been selling very much, and I had them made stacked up here, stocked up, and so truck pulled up, pickup truck pulled up, and come in and out here and come in and talk to me a little bit and explain to me what he wanted a dog house, and he explained to me. And I said, well, I've got one. Last year I can go out and pick either one you want. So we went out and picked him out one. And the next day he had to come back again, the same man with a 1.5-ton truck, steak body, and come in, and I said to him, I said, well, I'm glad to see you. I said, is this the man I seen yesterday, sold the dog house yesterday? Yeah. He said, how many of them dog houses you got sold? And I said, haven't got any. Well, he said, you have now. I bought them all. So he bought the 12 dog houses, or 11 dog houses I had left, and the 2 rabbit huts both, and took away. Now, that's the biggest sale I've had since I've been in the dog house business. But I don't ain't in the dog house that big anymore because I ain't able to make it. We have this sure one here, people can see it, but I've got a home beyond this one that I don't show it to everybody. That's the ones I've got in glory. I don't get possessions of that till I die. So I'm glad of that. I got another home. Another home I'm going to. Look back over and see it.
I am too, Grandpa.
Yeah. Love every one of them. Dad died in 15, I think it was. My dad died in 15, and then the mothers, practically all died. My children, or my brothers and sisters died. They was my mother and sister and brother all died in about 4 months' time. All three of them did. And then that led up, the death took out of them, then death stayed away from them for a while. And then another daughter, my other sister, she died with the same disease too. And so then we just drifted off up in here. We quit housekeeping and all, and then I went to get ready to make my own move for my own self. And so that's when I picked it up when me and my wife was married. But they wasn't just the family. I had 11 in family, that is 9 children, and Dad and Mother made 11 that we had at that time, and so that's about all there is of that. I was went for work for well, the last one I went to work for was R.K. Holmes. That was Frida was secretary in his office when I went to work for the Wade Powers, and I learned a lot of trade from people like that. Besides my dad brothers, I learned most of the trade. I had the gift of it, you might say, what little I do. I had the gift of it from my dad and brothers. 2 brothers is dead, but the rest of it I just had to beat it out myself. That is, pick it up from one to another, and I got it like that. But I was with Bucky Brothers 15 years. And then I was off about 1.5 years, and went right back in the same kind of business with R.K. Holmes that I was telling you about. Laboring for them, and I worked 14 years and a half for him. And like that, and then I finally retired afterwards.
How long have you been retired?
Huh? And I got it up right away. The way the book stands right now, it's 92 years old, and I think it's time to get settled down and retire for good. That's the one reason I picked my place in the Glory Land. And got my building up there. I went to building on it, and I got me a building in Glory Land. You've got to be good to make that place. Yeah.
Huh?
Well, now I left Kentucky and on the year 1919, and I bought 115 acres and a half of timber that had never been cut before. I cut it, and I had trees. I had trees from 6 foot and a half to 7 foot in there. I had them that thick on down the big yarn. But the big ones would run around, the big trees run around 6 foot and better of them, and I took everything. I cleaned that 115 acres up, took the timber off of it and sold it, and all kinds of timber, cross ties and square timber, that big square timber for ships building and stuff like that. And I went to scoring and hewing. The ties we made them by hand. I made them by hand. We'd score and hew. My father-in-law, he was a good axeman. I put him to score ahead of me, and so we got practiced up on it. We could just almost split a hair in two from one end to the other. And we had, I made hundreds of ties that there wasn't a scar of axe to be found on them. When I got through with the axe, when I got through my broad axe, that was what I had to do to finish them up. And I expected 100 or more of them that you couldn't see. You never could find people that tried to find a big as a hair, and they never could find nothing as big as a hair that made any scratch on it, no way, shape, or form. The face is just like a plate, just as smooth as a plate. And I had that kind of record of going in the timber, and I worked that timber all off and in ties and mine props and charcoal and stuff like that. I worked it all right. The little things about as big as your wrist. We burnt the rest of it and stuff like that. And that's about all there is to go to that. Only it's got it cleaned up, and I learned that trade by doing that. By practicing of it makes perfect. And
How long did it take you to do that?
Well, as I left there in 31, left there in 31, bought it and went there in 19 and 19. I bought it there. Went through it in 1919, January the 19th, 1919. And about 10 years, or better, a little better than 10 years of doing it. I had a sawmill in it for the big timber, and then we'd done the balance of then with axes and stuff like that. I had about 30 or 40 choppers with axes, whittling on them and stuff like that, and besides the ones that were making that, and I was doing mostly the. We sold out a lot of this year big timber. They wanted to give me more money if I'd put it by hew it by hand than it would if it saw it. Well, the saw wasn't hard enough to go reach through it, no way. So I hewed out about 3 or 4 of them myself. That was they were about 3 foot and a half in diameter, 16 foot long. Some of them was 20 feet long, and from 16 to 20 foot long. And that was 4 foot wide, or 3 foot and a half wide, thick, square. And that was all dressed off there just like they'd planed it. They didn't have to have a plane on it to do it after they got it. And they had records there showing what they were getting and what they get it. And I had a record of that kind of stuff going through like that, and their ties too. Pennsylvania and Railroad, Pennsylvania and B&O both, I had both of them under consideration. They both were buying off of me. And a lot of times we'd put about 2 to 3 cars a week of them. And they'd stock them up for a while, and then they'd be off a week or two before we sold any more. Just like that, the way we went through it like that. And then the man making charcoal, he'd come up with the fragments in of making the smaller stuff out of it, the brush and stuff. We had the choppers in, the chopping it up in the cordwood, and so that's the way we got it down so clean like that. So that's about all I got from that answer on that stuff about it there.
Not really, just
10 years, about 10 years ago.
Oh no, it's been about 15 or 20, about 15.
15 years ago. And had to build on it, of course, and like every place else you buy in town, everywhere it's at, you got to remodel and fix things to suit yourself anyway. So that's the shape that it's in. It was a pretty good shaped house, but at the same time we had a lot of changes to make in it. We put a front porch on, and we put the back porch up, built it up and stuff like that, and re-roof it and put siding on it, paint it and all that stuff come in extra on top of that. But and flowers, I'd put them about all out around the house. There wasn't none of them out of going at all, hardly, just unless it, huh?
And the shrubbery.
Yeah. And shutters on the doors, shutters on the windows, stuff that's about the only. And this little gazebo, that's about the only thing I know we bought, so that is fixed. And ready? Okay. While we're on this, down here on this planet called Earth, there's still a train bound for glory. There's a train running from Earth to glory. And the Lord's He's the whole works of the whole works, and He's the author of it and finisher. And I'll try to sing This Train is Bound for Glory. Now this train's bound for glory, this train is bound for glory, this train is bound for glory. Doesn't carry nothing but the righteous and the holy. This train's bound for glory, this train. Now this train don't carry no gamblers, this train don't carry no gamblers, this train is bound for glory, doesn't carry nothing but the righteous and the holy, this train bound for glory, this train. My, what a train. Now this train bound for glory, this train is bound for glory, this train is bound for glory, doesn't carry nothing but the righteous and the holy, this train bound for glory, this train. Now this train don't carry no drunkards, this train don't carry no drunkards, this train don't carry no drunkards, no hobos or midnight ramblers, this train don't carry no drunkards, this train.
Good.
Was
that the whistle blowing?
That was the whistle blowing. I never get the whistle right. Did you get to see little Zach every once in a while you've been down? No. Well, if I had hit, well, we had this, I'd have to sing his hit song. I'll fly away. I've never has been back, I reckon, since it moved away. Some glad morning when this life is gone, I'll fly away to a land on God's election shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away to a land where joy shall never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
That was good. Yeah, I liked it. Did you sing that to Zach?
Huh?
Did you sing that to Zach?
Yeah, I'd say you sing at the jacket. He said, well, he wasn't much more to get in the house, this little fellow, wouldn't he? Just be down to slapping his hand, just following me around and pointing up at the banjo and all that stuff. And I'd go to playing on the banjo, and he'd start to dance. And he'd just stand there and jump up and down, just jiggle his little self up and down, looking at. I was right at it. I'd give anything in the world if I could have kept it up. Could have kept it up, but the sickness, the ailments, and all, I couldn't do it. My fingers have got stiff. I never will get to play it anymore, probably. But every time, last time he was here, he got right out of the floor, and I said, Russ, you can sing "Now Fly Away," can't you? And he wanted me to sing it. I sung it for him. I'll fly away, but I couldn't play the band. Well, I'd be that cabinet that is out there, Johnny goes, the cabinet that in the kitchen. Pat wanted me to make her a cabinet, and I made that for her and set her zinc in and everything, and working fine like that. Just several jobs around. And then Johnny Gold wanted me to take his one of them little cabins over at the swimming pool and make him a place for his pony and calves. And I boxed one of them in all around, made it that, and made him places for him to feed them and everything like that, and put siding up on it so you can get it enough. And like that, and I've done quite a bit of work out there for Johnny, and like that, but I haven't been out there for quite a while, though, since all that's happened, but I made that little
I think we have some flower stands down in Georgia that you made us.
the what?
Flower stands with
Yeah.
flower pots on them.
Yeah.
You made some of those that we have.
Yeah. To come up to see me once more, and I hope you have a nice journey to go back home, not getting no danger no way. I don't reckon you know when you're going to come back up to see me again, of course. When you do, I want you to sure come around and see me. And I'm really glad your dad didn't come. I'd like to talk to him a little bit, but didn't. And walk it for you. You don't think we'll walk it all along. And so yesterday feels alright and harvest lane. Who will bear the sheaves away? You gotta walk that lonesome valley. You gotta go there by yourself. There's no one here can walk it for you. You gotta walk it by yourself. Love and strong, the master calling. Who will come and work today? Fields are ripe and harvest waiting. Who will bear the sheaves away? You gotta walk that lonesome valley. You gotta walk it all day long. There's no one here can walk for you. You gotta walk all yourself.
Is right behind my great-grandfather Salyer's house. And I remember all the times when we were little when we used to come up here and play on the railroad tracks.